To begin with, I call them dairy alternatives because they are good for you, they're good for health, they're good for the animals, they're good for the environment. I'm not going to get so deeply into that because I want you all to research it if you don't already know. But I'm assuming that since you've shown your interest in knowing more about dairy alternatives, you already know that it's better for you than dairy. It's tastier for sure, like absolutely delicious. Okay. Now, okay. Prithvi's asked a question here saying, what is the best milk to make dalgona coffee? Oh God. Okay. Any coffee, the best milk to make is coconut milk. It tastes really delicious with coffee, whether it's hot coffee, cold coffee, any fancy coffee, latte, whatever it is. Use coconut milk, it tastes really good. But if you don't like the flavor of coconut that much, then go for soy milk because it's kind of neutral, comparatively neutral, and goes well with coffee. Another thing that I really like with coffee has been walnut milk. So either you can make your own walnut milk at home or you can purchase the Borges walnut milk that's available in the market. Both of them would work very, very well for coffee. Okay, so any nut, any seed, any grain can be turned into milk. And soybean is the one bean which can also be turned into milk. So take a moment to think about the variety, the sheer variety you have, because it's like, oh my God, instead of one kind of animal milk, or maybe two, because in India people have buffalo milk also, and elsewhere goat milk also. So instead of one or two or three varieties, you have 10, 15 varieties as far as your imagination will reach. So you can make milk with any nut, any seed, any grain, and soybean. Okay, yeah. Naina says she made, dalgona coffee with soy milk and it was yum. And hey, hi Varsha. Varsha says almond milk. Yeah, great. So the way you make each milk differs. In some milks are easier than the others, like say cashew milk or hemp milk, for example. You just put it into the blender, grind it, add water and blend again, and you have milk. But you have some nuts which need to be soaked overnight, like say almond milk and even walnut milk. You soak it overnight, you wash it off, and then you extract the milk out of it. So each method of making the milk differs. The taste of each milk differs. So a lot of people ask what milk tastes best, what milk tastes better than dairy, which milk tastes close to dairy. So to start with, I want to say that nothing tastes like dairy, and we're not trying to make it taste like dairy either. So each milk has its own unique taste, texture, flavor, and maybe cashew is kind of close to dairy, but not exactly. And if you're making dairy alternatives, I don't suggest that you try to aim to make it taste like dairy at all. Go with the milk, its own natural properties and taste, the nut, the seed, the grain milk, and then see which dish it works best with. What goes well with coffee, what goes well with tea, what goes well for curds, what goes well for cooking and cereal and sweets. So it's all about trying a variety of milks and then trying it in different combinations and says which suits your taste best. Now, yeah, there is a question here that's like, what milk is best to make? Hey Sneha. So Sneha says, what milk is best to make vegan curd? Now, again, there is no best milk as such. It all depends on your taste, because with each milk, the texture of the curds, the amount of sourness, the creaminess, everything differs with each and every milk. But one milk which I have seen works very well for curds has been peanut. And especially if you do peanut with a combination of, say, rice milk or oat milk, that helps it sour more. So peanut milk, what happens is it sets very thick and creamy. If you see my stories from earlier today, I've shown you how thick and creamy the peanut curd can set. So peanut is a great milk to start with to make curds. There are two ways of making it. And so Sneha, watch the video. There is a video on YouTube on the Carrots Restaurant channel, And I have explained the videos in Kannada, but you should be able to understand it even if you don't speak Kannada, because I mix a lot of English when I speak, and it's pretty easy to see what ingredients are going in it. So use make peanut milk and then make the curds out of it the way the video says. But also there is another recipe. So in this, there's a toasting method. There is another recipe where I have shared a soaking method, which you go to blog.veganosaurus.com, which is my blog, or you can just Google Veganosaurus peanut curds, and that's going to come up. So that's also a recipe there, a video. So you can watch both of them, and then you can figure out why exactly your curds did not turn out thick, and what exactly you did, like what procedure, what step you may have missed, or what you didn't follow. Now I'll explain the basic procedure to make peanut curds. With a soaking method, you soak peanuts overnight, you wash them very well, grind them into a paste with a little bit of water, as creamy as possible, then add a lot more water and blend them really well. So say you start with 1 cup of peanuts, you can go up to 6 cups of water depending on how thick you would like the curds to be. Blend it really well, then cook the whole thing. Cook it for 20, 25, 30 minutes. So bring it to a boil, then reduce it to a simmer and let it keep simmering. You have to watch it while it's being simmered, stir it once in a while so it doesn't overflow and it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. So keep an eye out. Once it's done cooking completely, turn off the heat and then let it come to room temperature. If you are straining the milk, this is the time to strain it. Until this point, you do not strain the milk. But curds comes out pretty good even without straining the milk. It'll be a little bit pasty, but it's going to come out quite good. Hey, hi. The recipe is all about peanut curds. So what you do is, once you strain it, you bring it to a little warmer than lukewarm. So you should be able to put your finger into it, but not very comfortably, like maybe 10-15 seconds, and you should, it gets too hot and you remove your finger. That's how warm it needs to be. So warmer than lukewarm. Then you add the starter to set the peanut curd. Okay, so this is the procedure for the soaked peanut version. The starters that you use again make a difference to the end result that you get. So if you can get vegan curds, plant-based curds on hand, then use that as a starter. If you are in Bangalore, you can order our soy curds from Carrots. We have an excellent starter. It's like super probiotic rich, and we've been making curds since 2003. So it's like the next generation, and it's a great starter. So if you're in Bangalore, then just order like 100 grams of soy curds from Carrots, and you can use that as a starter. But if you are not in Bangalore, if you're really far away and you're not able to access the starter, then I'll give you a few starter ideas. One is green chili crowns. So you take about, if you have say a half liter to a liter of curds, you take green chilies, wash them first, then separate the crowns, the stick part with the cap. You separate that, and then about 10 to 20 chilies, and you put that into the curd and mix it, into the peanut milk and mix it, cover it and leave it aside. That's going to take maybe 10, 12 hours, sometimes even 15 to 20 hours depending on the weather to set. But this first time, the green chili crowns are kind of a weak starter. So the first time, it's not going to set very strong. It's not going to taste very strong, rather it's not going to curdle very well. But use that curd as a starter for the next round, and then that curd for the next round. And as you keep going with each starter, with each generation of the starter, the taste of the curd improves very, very well. Another starter option is soaked dal water. So if you make idli at home, you would be soaking urad dal, or maybe even if you don't, you can take like a spoonful of urad dal or moong dal. Soak it in water, like a spoon of dal in about half a cup of water. Soak it for 6, 8, 10 hours, maybe overnight. And then that water is going to get sour. So it's going to have the probiotic cultures. And you can use a few spoons of that water as a starter in your peanut milk to make the curds. Now, by the way, this works for all the nut milks. It's not only for peanut milk. All the starters work with for all the vegan milks, so you can use it. Again, this is not going to be a very strong starter. The first time the curd is not going to set too well or taste too sour. It's going to be a slightly plain tasting curd, but it's okay. Just use that for your next starter and keep going that way. Another one is oats. You soak a couple of spoons of oats overnight, and you put that again, a couple of spoons in half a cup of water, leave it overnight. Next morning, use that water, a few spoons of that water as a starter to set your curds. Now, these are all the different natural starters with easily available handy ingredients which most people will have at home. Today I tried something, or rather yesterday I tried something. So the curds that I showed all of you in the stories today, and I was like, see how thick and creamy it is, and do you know what I used as a starter? I used idli batter. We had made idli dosa batter at home, and so I took a cupful of peanut milk and I put a spoon of idli batter in it and just mixed it and then just let it sit, and it set beautifully. Delicious, tasty curds, thick and creamy curds. So Nayana says, doesn't lemon juice work though? Yes. Lemon juice also can be a starter, but it will break the milk. So what you do is you take a little bit of your vegan milk, the warm vegan milk, add lemon juice to it, and then let that sit and curdle. After 6, 8, 10 hours, that curd, use that as a starter to make the rest of your nut curd. Okay. So this is it for all the starters. Now, the milks that are good to make curds out of. Anything that has some amount of fat in it, so basically nuts, those work very well for curds because they set creamy. But not all nuts. It has to have a slightly higher fat content. So say cashews, they work brilliantly for curds because cashew has fat, which helps make the curd creamy, but also it has sweetness. It has a natural sweetness, and the bacterial cultures love that sweetness. So they just eat it up, nom nom nom, and then you get really sour curds. But cashew curds will not set like peanut does. Peanut is the highest fat content, so it sets like an island. But cashew curd will not set. However, it will be creamy. It will be like buying packaged curds outside. It's going to be creamy like that. So it's a very delicious curd. Travelocious, do all these vegan curds taste exactly like the normal curd? I've tried vegan milk but uncertain about the curd, a little finicky about it. Don't No, I will answer this. So this is a question that others have asked me too. Okay, first of all, I do not call the curd that everybody has normal curd. There is nothing normal about drinking animal milk to begin with, if you think about it. So it is better referred to as animal milk curds. That being said, none of the curd taste exactly like animal curds by themselves, but the moment you use it, like if you mix it into curd rice or make raita or kadhi or majge huli or avial, anything at all, when you use it in something and there's some masala, some tadka that falls into it, it tastes like what you would be used to. So you can't really make out a difference between vegan curds and non-vegan curds in that case. Okay. So, no need to apologize. All these curds will have their own slightly nutty flavor of their own when you have them plain. So if you eat coconut milk curds, coconut curds also comes out very tasty, thick and creamy. I have shared a few stories recently of Shruti trying a bunch of them. Her coconut curd was so thick and creamy, it was almost like butter. So coconut comes out well because of the high fat content, but again it doesn't set like peanut curd sets, but it comes out very well. So all these, like coconut curd will have coconut flavor, peanut curd will have some amount of peanut flavor at least, and cashew will not have that much of a flavor. Cashew curd has a more neutral taste, comparatively neutral taste, because like I said, the bacteria love the sweetness, so they eat it all up, and then the curds becomes more sour. So you can try different curds. More recently, I have tried hemp milk curds. I have a recipe up on my Instagram if you all want to look and try it out. So that also comes out creamy, but it doesn't set, but it's very, very tasty. It does have a strong hemp flavor. I do not suggest making curds with walnuts because I've tried it and it turns bitter. So walnut milk is really tasty, but walnut curd, not suggested at all. It's a waste. So any nut that has a tendency to be on the bitter side, don't even try making curds out of it. It doesn't work very well. Okay. Now almond curds. Almond milk is slightly more watery in nature compared to cashew milk. It doesn't have as much of a fat content, though it is super nutrient rich. So definitely make almond milk and drink it raw. Okay, include it in your diet. But if you make curds out of it, it tastes good, but it's very thin. The texture is like buttermilk. So rice milk, almond milk and all that, they curdle very well. They taste good, but it'll be buttermilk. So think about if you feel like having buttermilk in the summer, and at that point of time you can use almond and rice and stuff and curdle it and make it. And one thing to know is that you can, all these nuts, seeds, grains, actually they're very good for you in a fermented form, because once it is fermented, the bacteria have pre-digested the nutrition, like the nutrients in it, so it becomes much more easily bioavailable and absorbable in your body. So say you try making some kind of a nut curd, so say you made almond curd and you feel it's not thick or anything, but still drink it and still have it, because it's very good for you nutritionally. It's really, really healthy for you. Yeah. Now, so that's about the starters. Okay, so when it comes to, so I'll tell you which, in my experience, there's another question here, veganage. Which plant-based milk is the most healthy, and also which plant-based milk is best for the kids for their calcium content? Thanks in advance. Okay, all right. Health-wise, it depends. See, look at the nut or the seed or the grain. Look at how nutritious it is and what you require at that moment, and that is going to be the healthiest for you. I do know that kids tend to take to almond milk. They tend to like almond milk. So I know a lot of vegan parents who are switching their kids from animal-based milk to vegan milk. Or I have friends who've had vegan pregnancies, vegan babies, and then, once the baby is old enough to have other foods, they give almond milk to the baby, and kids love almond milk. And it's also very nutritionally rich. However, when it comes to, you were talking about calcium. So here's the thing. Dairy doesn't give you good calcium, by the way. It's not enough calcium. It is not easily absorbed into your body. So dairy doesn't give you good enough calcium. All calcium comes from plants. So you don't have to replace milk for milk. Like, so if you stop dairy for children, you don't have to replace another milk for them to get calcium. Just make sure that you are feeding them calcium rich vegetable, fruits, grains, greens and everything. And that's enough. You don't need a milk to milk replacement for health. So all this is more for taste, for the switch. But sesame is super strong in calcium. It's one of the most rich in calcium. The sesame milk can be made. It's a little bitter. So what I like to do is I like to combine a bit of cashew with a bit of sesame, and then I make milk. So the sweetness of the cashew counters the bitterness of the sesame a bit. Okay. Sanchita... Yeah, Sanchita, so you want to know about making buttermilk with rice milk. Yeah, okay. So you make rice milk and then you add a starter to it to set it. And by the way, just to make sure everybody knows, don't use animal milk curds as a starter for vegan curds. So make sure you use all these starters that I have mentioned earlier in this video, or use vegan curds if you get your hands on it, but definitely don't use animal milk for it. Okay, so Sanchita, the beauty about rice is it tends to ferment on its own also. So you don't even need to add much of a starter, or even if you do, like if you add even a little bit of lemon juice or something and leave it, it's going to ferment beautifully. So that is already going to be thin like buttermilk. To that you add whatever garne, your seasoning like mustard, ginger, coriander, green chili paste, whatever it is you like, and then you just drink it. So that's your buttermilk. You can make like a large bottle of this with all the seasonings added, salt and all that, and adjust the sourness with lemon and put it off in the fridge, and then through summer just keep drinking. It's so yummy. Okay. What combinations of milks could one use to make the most neutral tasting curds, or less strong if not neutral? Yes. Okay. So you said that you've used soy curds, and you said that it's very strong, right? Yeah, and rice milk. Yes. So what soy curd have you made? Because when you make soy milk from beans from scratch and then you make curd out of it, it has a more beany flavor. What I do, if I don't even depend on soy curd so much anymore, though when I turned vegan, that's what I used to have, because I didn't know about all these other curd options. So what you do is, if you can get bio-nutrient soy milk powder, and then we have a video on our Carrots Restaurant YouTube channel about how to make curds and buttermilk out of this powder, the soy milk powder, the exact procedure. Use that. That is fairly neutral, comparatively neutral. So that's what we use at Carrots. So if you've actually had our buttermilk at Carrots, which is a welcome drink as soon as you come to Carrots, that is made of soy, and that's what we use for our curd rice, raita, everything, because it's fairly neutral compared to the other milks. However, yes, you are right. The question where you says using rice milk tones down the taste, that is true to some extent. So when we do peanut curds, when we add rice milk to it, or even oat milk to it, one of the grain milks to it, it does tone down the flavor of the peanuts. Again, but I don't, you cannot get 100% zero peanut tasting curd. That's not even going to taste good. So don't even expect that. Closest to dairy taste, if you're really particular about it, what I do suggest is just make all these different things, different nut, seeds, grain, milks, curds, ferment it, and see what taste you like best. And don't try to really go for taste like dairy. However, if you want to be particular and more neutral, then go for cashew curds, because cashew is creamy, and to cut down the cost, you can mix rice milk with the cashew cream and then make curd out of that. That's going to be comparatively neutral. Yes, so you said that you made it from scratch, your soy milk you made from scratch, and then you did the chili starter. So to begin with, it's already beany when you're making it from beans from scratch. Soy milk will be beany, and then chili starter is a weak starter. So the first time will not taste good, but then again you use, even if you're making it from scratch with soybeans, your curds, if you're making soy milk and then curds, use a stronger, good vegan starter, and then it's going to taste better and far less beanier than it would have tasted for you. So the starter is everything. But I tell this to everyone, don't give up on the first try. If you're using one of the weaker starters, don't give up. Use that and do the next one. After 2-3 rounds, you're going to start liking it better. It's going to taste more sour, more fermented, more curdy tasting. So don't give up. Keep trying, because it's going to be like, you're going to love it. It's going to be worth the effort. So Adi says, Miyoko says not to soak the soybeans to avoid a beany soy milk. You have to soak it, but not for too long. I do know there is a method where they just quick soak it, like they just boil it, remove it and make it, which might help to reduce the beany flavor to an extent, yes. Thanks, Adi. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, one person had asked me about egg replacer, even though the question was more about dairy alternatives. So I can do a different video another time about egg replacers, though I'm not as knowledgeable about it as I am about the dairy alternatives. Because for me, when I turned vegan, I was already vegetarian and I used to love curds. For me, that's like the biggest thing. I was never a fan of cheese or ghee or anything like that, but curds was like, whoa. So that is why over the years I've tried and experimented and done so many curds because I'm like obsessed with the, curds. So that's the reason I know about it. But anyway, so egg replacers. If you're making cake, then there is a vegan cake recipe which does not require a direct egg replacer. You can look that up. But for things like, say, pancakes and other things, you can just use some powdered flaxseed, beat it with water, and put it into your pancake batter and make it. So, egg replacers differ. There are variety that you can use mashed fruits like banana, apple sauce. There's so many varieties. But again, it all depends on what dish you are making and then which egg replacer would work best for that dish. So we'll do another video more deeply in depth with that. Yeah, Pratibha, soy curd tastes too medicinal, good consistent when it. Okay, again, Pratibha, I've spoken about soy curd in this video, so just watch it. Watch the video. It's going to be on available here for 24 hours, so you can watch it and then you will see the tips that I have shared for that. Adi says. Yeah, so because you're using an existing peanut curd as a starter to make your curds, it's working very well. So yeah, if you can get your hands on an existing vegan curd, any vegan curd as a starter, and see, here's the thing: the longer and the more generations the curd has whatever you use as a starter, the tastier the curd is going to be. So this is why I always recommend our starter from carrots, because we've been making it since 2013, like 7 years now, and it's the same thing that continues as the same original bacteria which has gone on to the next and then the next and the next batch and so on. So yeah, that's going to that is an excellent starter, so do try it sometime too. Yeah. Someone says, do you use marijuana seed? I think you mean hemp when you say marijuana seed. You can use hemp seeds in food for sure. More recently, I've been getting hemp from India Hemp Organics, and I've really liked the quality, the hemp hearts that they have, and I do use it in food. You can make milk out of it. You can just sprinkle the seeds you can lightly toast them and sprinkle it onto salads or over fruits or anything. It tastes very good. Okay. So Bhargavi, there's no suggestion. You just make cashew milk. You grind cashews with water, and then make it thick and creamy. Make it a little warm. Add vegan starter and set it into curds. Adi, you just connect with carrots and order 100 grams of soy curds. That's how you get the starter. Yes. So Sneha has asked a very good question about cross mixing different plant-based curds as a starter for a different milk. So yes, as long as there are no allergies to anybody, you can use peanut curd to start soy curd. You can use soy curd to start coconut curd and coconut curd. So within the plant-based curds, you can mix all of them. There is absolutely no issue at all. I've done a lot of that over the years, so it all turns out very tasty. So you can use all these as starters for each other, and that is a very good question, because a lot of people wonder this. Okay, then well. So I'm going to end this now. I think I've answered most of the questions. So I want to add one last tip for everyone. If you want to get the curds to taste slightly more neutral, slightly more curd tasting, fermenty tasting, add a pinch of whatever nut milk or rice milk or combination milk that you have used to make your for the curds. Add a pinch of salt and a pinch of sugar to it. It helps the bacteria thrive better, ferment better, so the overall end result is going to be good, very very tasty. Especially if you're going to do this with the weak starter, you can do this to help improve the taste of the curd even in the first round. So just a pinch of salt, just a pinch of sugar. The salt will be for your taste, and also it keeps only the good bacteria in there, and not, it won't allow any unnecessary bad bacteria to come in there. And the sugar is for as food for the probiotics. So you put that pinch of sugar and they like the taste, because like I was saying, with cashew curd they like the sweetness and they ferment better and it becomes very sour. Same way, you just add a pinch of sugar to any other non-sweet milk, and that will feed the bacteria and make them very happy. And even people who avoid sugar, it's not a big deal, because first you are only adding a pinch, and secondly the bacteria eat up the sugar, so there's no sugar left for you to eat at the end of it. Okay, so let's see if there are any other questions. Yes, Sneha, yes, you add it when it's warm. So always make sure the milk is warm. Okay, that is very important. Make sure of that. It needs to be a little more than lukewarm, in fact slightly on the hotter side, and leave it in a warm place. Shruti, yeah, but then the bacteria would have broken. So she's asking, wouldn't we be eating the same bacteria because of the sugar, right? You're the bestest too. Okay, so we are eating the same bacteria, but the bacteria have already broken down the sugar, so it's not going to affect you like sugar would. That's what I'm trying to say. Adi, yes. So if it is, say, cashew milk, hemp milk, you can just warm them up and add the starter. But if it is peanut milk, rice milk, soy milk, even with the soy milk powder, boil it, then cool it, then add the starter, because basically with cashew, coconut and all that, you don't need to boil too much because the high fat content, and the boiling with the soy milk and all that, it helps to emulsify the milk well, so then it becomes creamier when you set it. And peanut milk, you have to boil it, because it's yuck if you try to make raw peanut milk or raw peanut curd. So that's why you have to boil it until the smell of peanut, it should smell like boiled peanuts, like cooked peanuts. So, and then you add the starter. Again, always boiling helps to emulsify the water and the fat, so you always get a better curd. But you don't necessarily need to do that for cashew, hemp and a few other nut curds. Bhargavi says, why doesn't almond milk curd set at all? So I guess it's just the property of the almonds, where it's not as high in fat content, and also not it has other nutrients but not so much fat, and okay amount of protein, I suppose, so which is why it doesn't set. So don't try to set it, but yeah, if you want to have the best way to have almond milk, I did say that again earlier in the video, the best way to have almond milk is raw and plain, and get all its nutrition benefits. But if you want, you can mix almond milk. You can make a combination curd, by the way. People, all of you can do a mix and match of, say, almond milk, rice milk, peanut milk, cashew milk. You can do a mix and match, make a nice thick creamy milk, and then make curds out of that. You can try that too. It comes out very well. Sneha asks if is carrots open for delivery. So currently we are delivering stuff from our bakery and vegan essential specialty products like milks, curds, ice creams and things like that. We are doing that. We just started pizza last night. There's one kind of pizza that we're doing. Otherwise the kitchen's not open. Only this much is. We are taking orders in advance, and then so go to the carrots page, the number, the details to contact, all of that is there. I'm not taking the orders, so please nobody try to contact me and order with me, because I'm not even at Carrots. I'm quarantining at home. So there is a ground team at the restaurant. So just message them on the Carrots number, get in touch with them. Not even on Instagram, on the WhatsApp or Telegram number that I have shared, or you can even call them, and you can place your order. And my guys, my team are going to coordinate with you, and they will help you get, they will make everything ready for you to get picked up. Like, you can book a Dunzo and get it picked up. Adi, you are most welcome. Shruti, yes. So Shruti knows. Shruti asks, can we make curds without roasting peanuts first? Because Shruti seen me teach the recipe where I don't soak the peanuts overnight. Instead, I roast them and I make them. So if you don't want to roast the peanuts, you can just soak the peanuts overnight. Shruti, look at my again, search for Veganosaurus peanut curds, and my blog. The recipe will come up for a different version where you do it with soaked peanuts instead of roasted peanuts. Yeah, I personally like the taste of roasted. Excuse me. I personally like the taste of roasted peanut curds, but it is more peanutty, so it's totally up to you to try the soaked version. I know you're trying a lot of curd recipes at home, so I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out. Bhargavi, you're most welcome. Sneha, all of you. So if anybody has any other questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, I think I've covered all the questions that people have asked. Oh yeah. The best milk to make coffee is coconut milk, like I said, or walnut and soy work fairly well. But the best milk to make tea is cashew milk. So try it out. It tastes really, really yummy. Again, Carrots Restaurant YouTube channel, go. There's a video for cashew milk masala chai there. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Cool. So, Shruti, let me know how your mom likes it. Yeah. Okay. Adi says, what about butter? Yeah. We make coconut butter at Carrots, and it's a bit of a long procedure. Even I myself don't know how it's made exactly, in the sense of I've never personally made it myself. So we do make coconut butter at Carrots. Even Lena of Crave by Lena makes very tasty coconut butter. You can try that also if you like. But otherwise, there is a recipe on my blog for plain cashew cheese, fermented cashew cheese, and that taste, this, once it's fermented, that taste you can put it on idli, dosa, bread and stuff. It tastes kind of like homemade cultured butter. It has that kind of a taste. So you can try that out, Adi, and see how you like it. And it's a very, very yummy cashew cheese. So try that out. Other than that, yeah, there are nut butters and stuff, but I do know that's not the same as buttery butter. So closest is coconut for spreading, on coconut butter for spreading, or the cheese that I'm talking about, the cashew cheese. Okay. So yeah, so thanks everyone for being here. It was great to be able to answer all your videos. This is going to be here for another 24 hours, as in Instagram leaves it, so you can rewatch it. Whoever joined in a little later, you can rewatch the video. And if you have any other questions, feel free to DM me and I'll answer them. And also let me know what you'd like to know more about, and I'll do again, I'll do a live video again soon and answer more questions. Okay, bye.